Today is Tuesday, my birthday. Keirauba, the first of Sajibu, in terms of date. Right now my mind doesn't indulge in bowels, so I'm stealing time from leisure. It frightens me when I muse over the reason of birth and death, when I ponder over the way I'm passing my time from morning till night. I can't help but feel shame in front of God, the Creator. So I can't rest my head while my mind is alert. Why did He send me to this world? He has put me amidst relatives, enemies, and friends. But in what form or guise is what I am interested to know. Is it for this life that brings no joy at birth or sorrow at death? Is it for polluting and making the world murky? I am at a loss. Life and death, the intrinsic meaning of staying alive, I wish to contemplate as a human being. Why? Because before I, a human being, can stand as a human being, would my soul, his belonging, be called back? I can't help but worry, not to be ashamed of when I confront him later. During my lifetime, I shall not discard but treasure his gift, my strength and wit. I, strength and wit, am born out of food. Knowledge gained without learning. Instinct tells me the things common to all living beings, including men, are breathing, sleeping, and taking rest. The difference is that only man lives with ambition, though others may have a purpose without being aware, to search for food as long as alive. Many are there vying for better sharpness than men, sharp-eyed birds with a wider vision, starting from ants to elephants and apes, dolphins living in the vast expanse of water. Men fed up with being men, they wish to go back to the prehistoric days and live in caves. It is so easy. Difficulties lie in attaining greater heights. No links with good and bad, right and wrong, no restrictions in the urge for love and thirst for romance, no connections with life's bindings with past and future, no botheration for good and bad behavior. Male fighting with its offspring, a young male while copulating with its mother. Unthinkable actions smeared with blood. In the brief period of time between life and death, man, superior by birth, who are destined to protect the earth, when they start reducing themselves to such a lifestyle, man being soft-hearted and sensitive, such a beautiful and high birth, for cohabiting with naked persons, foregoing the traditions, in their last moments they repent, remembering the past misdeeds, without being able to reap the beautiful fruits of life, grimacing with pain, unable to bear heartache, will die with remorse, murmuring discontentment, like harvesting rice after growing paddy. If born one is sure to die. One should rather be proud of doing something for the society. One should be satisfied of performing the duties given by the Lord, stepping down to the stage of cave dwellers from being a man, looking up from the bottom of the depression where light cannot reach, unable to see the beauties of life. Mind has been contemplating the faint image to ascertain the true form of life, unsatisfactory, impure, full of lies. Like a floating balloon cannot find a permanent place on the surface of water, in the passage of life without any destination. If one acts thinking whatever he does is correct, every step will be detrimental to the neighbors. Right from birth, I have been lying on the lap of Mother Earth. I have not moved apart to look at her figure, but as if the Lord had wanted to give me an opportunity, I was made to board an aeroplane and see, so beautiful was the small portion of Mother's body, like a rainbow formed in the crimson rays of the morning sun. How beautiful must it be when looked from the surface of the moon. Can a snake think of its mother? A worm care for its mother? As lowly as a worm, as hated as a vicious snake, I, a vain person, progeny of widow, see and know, mother, it is only because I have been born as a human being, only because of my wish to stay alive. I have reached this stage. What could be the reality? The leaders of my native place, who are not ashamed of the shameful actions since birth, they should never think of depending on others, or should never live at the mercy of others. As someone who leads a submissive life, kowtowing to receive favor as a quality, like the life of a parrot in cage that has learned to talk, being proud of this obnoxious life, cannot stand even for a moment when compared with the life of a star. Such a short life, a momentary guest, like the dew on lotus leaf, pretending to be sacrificing for the sake of the native land. If it were not it, then in this world, I, a human, living as a person, the center of love and compassion, would not have any means of escaping from dangers and sufferings. Man is the progenitor of all the happiness and sorrow of man. Eye and mouth are the source of love and compassion. These two are also the source of good and bad. Desire turns into greed and prompts man to sleep, eat, speak, smell, see and listen. The world is the total manifestation of the insane desire of man. Man's greed ever changing like the shape of clouds. Its form differs from person to person. Those eager to learn crave for artificial things, for usefulness, more comfort and stunning changes. Their heads and hands cannot remain idle. A new change paves the way for another new change. In this life of never-ending cycle of birth and death, trying to satisfy the insatiable desire is the nature of man, who departs walking. Those left behind are not satisfied. Indolent men have gone crazy in searching for personal gains. Though benefits are meant for the honest and hard-working person, it is natural for the lazy men wishing to go against the good to get undue benefit. To be able to lead a higher lifestyle, the source of all dirt, evil learning is hated by one and all. Greed for others' wealth is sure to cause devastation. It's an infectious disease of incompetent man to chip away pieces from the whole to fit one in, like using a discarded blunt knife, with a wish to destroy what is already there, fronds from the thatch for burning to cook food, and resulting in the end a roofless house to live in. The life of an indolent person is hollow for a life that will end after prolonged illness if not dependent on others. To accumulate as much as one can while others are favoring him. When inflow and outflow are compared, profit will outweigh if one stoops low and minds collection only. In life, body and soul heavy with collection only, the more heavier it becomes, the more eager it becomes to collect. strength that never fails while collecting to satisfy the insatiable greed. To carry around his burden has become his duty, can't eat and sleep peacefully in his eagerness to acquire more. Only when his heart he will come to realize his burden with the mental blow that cannot be lessened, has come to realize all the acquired goods have harmed life. Greed to acquire more is an enemy that cannot be revenged. In this life, those who want to be the master have gone crazy, as if they can spin and carry the world at their fingertips, impatient to hold down everyone and stay at the top. Fully aware of the truth, they do not want to follow it, though the Creator treats one and all as equals. They do not want to treat and see others as equals. They want to treat others as means to get their benefits. In this world, since no one is better in all respects, it is difficult to suppress the opposition to the improper judgment. The quality of truth cannot be overcome by artificial strength. It's improper to govern the land weakly for the weaker section, strongly for the stronger group. So many impostors are posing as good teachers, and they teach the smaller groups discipline. The real teacher of man is the manifestations of nature only. However hard they may teach duties seemingly as experts, they causing harm to the Lord, against the truth, holding the reins using unfair means. Instead of getting respect, it's like disturbing hornet's nest, as if both peace and tranquility suddenly vanishing. Greed for power do not harm only those who pine for it, but also destroys the small self-respecting groups. Institutes of budding students are forced to bear the war expenses. In families, parents pray for their sons' victory. Married couples are made to think producing children increase the number of allies. Monogamous men are described as enemies of the society. Impostors are paying the weaker sections whose properties have been snatched away by them with the money earned by starved children. They are forced to beg. At a lonely moment of life, both the poor and rich are charmed by the voice, carried away by the fragrance of the unthinkable, of the lost son, of the killed husbands. The hard-earned money of the widows is tainted with remorse because of the urge to take revenge of the unwarranted sufferings. In the usually beautiful nature of the multiple forms of man, not willing to show sympathy like a snake does to a frog, but to be swallowed. Women, graceful like earth, benefactor and protector of mankind, are made to pack war dresses and prepare strategies of war, and turn Mother Earth's lap into forts. How cruel is the greed for power! Man living on hope, a poor being if contemplated, the Creator does not allow him to survive on his own, like a snake able to survive on its own just after hatching from the egg. Man, from the instant he emerges from mother's womb, has started expecting help and support from the surroundings. Suddenly coming in connect with air outside, sensing the difference from the warmth and comfort inside, he cries to be lifted up. From birth till death, man can never leave hope aside. Not perfect like the snake, he cannot survive without depending on others. It is the nature of mankind to depend on one another. But if the hope is not reasonable, then it may be detrimental to mankind. Men in the competition among others, why is their wish for subduing one another? Pain inflicted by the unnecessary tussle because of the failure to respect one another. Why should one like to survive by kowtowing another? Foolhardiness has lowered the dignity of life. To lift up high in the sky or lower quite low, men's head and hands are endowed with the ability. It all depends on the integrity and dishonesty of men, on the ever-changing mind and character of men. The streams of thoughts are so diverse. It is the story of two heads of the same origin. Both of them have no one to call as his own. One cups his head in his hands and mutters in repentance. Another takes cue from the character of ants in a day, accepting the night and time for eating. One day he will clean the drains and construct fences. Another day he will milk cows and carry load. For an active man like him, there is no dearth of work for earning. His small savings go on multiplying. He starts keeping a heifer calf the following year with the milk it gives after the birth of a calf. He prepares many delicacies and sells it. Riding on a used bicycle he bought, villagers, workmen, and hill dwellers lap it up, exchanging it with the produce of their farms and handicrafts with the money he keeps earning every day. He buys a used vehicle. Produce of villagers lie unsold because of remoteness from the main roads. He goes into the interiors daily and buys whatever the villagers can sell. At every inter-village road crossing, villagers bring and offer articles at a competitive price. Both the sellers and buyers are benefited. The business expands rapidly. All the articles are of great demand in towns. The unprofitable and losing concerns of the villagers because of lack of support, and those who have lost in their effort to earn livelihood are revitalized with a renewed hope. He supplies them proper implements and materials to yield more and produce better quality products, and not to purchase from others what the people required. He makes arrangements to generate self-employment schemes for the skilled workers. In order to survive by sharing whatever are available, it is natural to help one another if the income from their occupation is low. Since man lives their lives for men, he who seems not to have anyone of his own, when he starts looking for ways and means of self-employment, his deeds for the welfare of men make him join hands with those who want to try but do not know the way. Under the guidance of a selfless and energetic leader, the neighbors, distanced from one another because of difference in occupations, have been rejuvenated on coming to know the real flavor of life. They have started showing the desire to live in harmony. They have started showing the eagerness to show their united strength. A landlord, owner of large plots by paddy fields, a perfect gentleman voluntarily donates a piece of land to serve as the public meeting place. Each man from every family contributes whatever he can afford, and a big community hall is constructed. To share the goods produced from the two different river banks, they collectively build roads and bridges. Those endowed with indolence, unable to get the feel of living together, have started coming to their senses after getting enough to eat. They have started to realize the value of the culture and tradition of their forebears. They have started taking interest to improve their habits. When they start thinking about the wealth of men, education comes to the forefront. Man who is not satisfied with staying alive without working requires higher level of learning. Growing plants, ripening, harvesting and cooking, it is the artificial skill that shows the identity of man. To learn and follow all the good things from nature, man is made to adjust to the surroundings and learn whatever that pleases and satisfies the mind and eyes, to take part in the endless drama of life. The world is made an enchanting place where all the beauties accumulate. The sharp brain of man that cannot be discarded is shown to the living world by its activities. The birth of man is giving life to the living world. The living beings that cannot identify themselves according to their behavior and habits, man gives them names forming links, exemplifying the eternal blessings of the Lord, like men extending obligatory help to one another. On learning, it enhances the luster of life. Only when there is cordial relation between man and other living beings, Mother Earth, the only place in the universe, the elixir of life, mobile and immobile, can exist without harm coming to it. The laborious ones are generally polite. Not to fight with mosquitoes and flies, he keeps the surroundings clean. Like I do not want to be tortured, I do not wish to torture others. Meat and fish, other than food grains and vegetables, are not eaten, not to refuse the command of the Almighty Lord. Diligent person never boasts to be the masters and waste time on the plea of the prevailing condition, time and situation, and make others do his work without accounting their labor. Diligent person never wastes any article, however trivial it may be. He is so leisurely of the ever-passing time, he does not want others to disturb him. Likewise, for his personal benefit, he never lets others waste their time. Like he wishes to carry out what he has made others to believe in, diligent person does not want to bluff of the impossible things beyond his capability. Wishing to live together as companions with pure hearts, he does not encourage actions that will hurt the feeling of others. Diligent person for the essential things to stay alive, food and clothing. Never bows down and beg others. In the life of men made up of the mixture of good and bad, he always tries to make others honest and stays away from those who gossip and criticize others, those who hide their own misdeeds and speak ill of others. True friends of one are those who remember him at the dusk of his life. To be proud of his deeds, when he looks in retrospect, he keeps his mind occupied with only the good things, not to disappoint and send off anyone who comes for help. I analyze my character during the present times. Diligent persons cares for progeny. Mother and father are described as the only visible gods. It is the sapling mother and father had meticulously prepared, for which he is so proud of as the life of a man. The divine physical relation between male and female will produce issue that will decide the future of men. Impure relation between male and female will produce weaklings. Desire and lust cannot divert the attention of a diligent person. He sees only the one the Lord has created. Even if the Lord has made him lose his way to test by making him leave this world without leaving behind any progeny, to perform rites so that it is not repeated by their offspring, diligent person describes it as a short-sighted and foolish thing to do. In the prevailing situation, it is difficult to ascertain whether his offspring will not be inferior. Instead of producing offspring whose quality is uncertain, it is better to leave behind the occupation initiated by the Lord that will give benefits to future generations. Diligent person knows all these: hills, lakes, rivers, deserts, land of sand, all the places on Mother Earth manifesting diverse forms because of unidentical geographical and climatic conditions have become the home of innumerable living beings. People living close to the shores of lakes and hill dwellers are of different origins. Naturally, because of staying separately, their customs and beliefs are different. Diligent person cannot foresee future like a lowly insect. In the relation between creation myths, faceless people, difference in religious beliefs and rituals because of different origins, he does not want others bargaining the beliefs of their forefathers. Likewise, he does not discuss the good and bad sides of religion. The mental perception of man is influenced by the surroundings. Diligent person knows that it cannot be like his. He respects others' culture. He does his duty without disturbing others. He can neither bluff without knowing the subject, nor pretend to love without loving. He never supports the wrong ones, though people instigate him to do so. It is said to be undeniable truth that it is useless to help others if not in the proper way. 10 rich people cannot fulfill the needs of one poor man. Diligent person knows how to support others. The extremely poor people who can barely cover their bodies and cannot feed their children 2 square meals a day, but are mentally sharp and physically strong, even if available, instead of giving them mealed rice, give them work so that they can earn money to buy rice. Life is work. Working hard enhances the taste of life. Instead of always leading the blind holding his hand, it's better to give him a walking stick to enable him to walk on his own. To do away with kowtowing at each step in life, diligent person knows that public property is for everyone to finish off and collect for personal use whenever one gets a chance is a wrong motive. To protect and utilize it properly will make the land prosperous and civilized, buildings and structures that have become mirror of the society. When the old ones are replaced by new ones and left to rot, exposed in weather, the open meadows turn into scrap yard where the good parts of the old ones disintegrate. General people do not care a hoot, taking it to be natural happening. Wasting public property for nothing is unethical and short-sighted action. Diligent person who understands that it would lead the society to poverty hates the real enemies of the society, who think only for themselves and amass wealth. When the Lord of the universe created the world, there was no shortage of the things that are required for the living beings to stay alive. Like a new bride is presented all the articles that are required to run a family. The surface of the earth is not owned by man only, but all the living beings also have the right to be the owner. The earth is rudely ruled by man with vanity, without giving the lower forms of living beings their due shares. Because of wantonly developing the earth only for men, many species of living beings are becoming extinct, but the Lord, who is impartial, has destined everyone to live together in perfect harmony. In this unethical, self-centered and inhospitable world, who is working selflessly for development, though he cannot live selflessly like the trees and experience the pain endured by those tolerant ones. Trees, the support for all the living beings, support hives, the wealth of bees, the elixir of life. Diligent person seeks support to save forests and stands against environmental pollution. Deforestation in hills causes siltation in riverbeds, frequent abnormal floods and droughts, wasting the livelihoods of the living beings, which in turn disturb the peaceful existence to protect the essential materials to stay alive. Diligent persons come together At suitable places they plant cotton, not to be dependent on others for clothes to wear. Farmers and workers go hand in hand. Since bringing up children properly is important to save a society, diligent person is ready to give up his life to safeguard the rights of children. He does not haggle over the price for putting children to work. He shows himself as an example to children that at all times a guide is required. When the diligent persons join their hands, then there is strength to do away with completely the man-made, untoward incidents. Come, whatever may on earth, the seam between life and death, open and secret, in the difference between friend and enemy, children, the God sends have to be kept on a higher pedestal, something for which even life can be sacrificed at the opportune moment. On the pretext of doing something good for the innocent children, adults should never use them as a means. They should be kept protected before they can stand on their own. In the character of youths, the wealth of the nation, reflections of the governance of the country can be seen. Out of habit, at times, other than the festive times, if they indulge in merrymaking, wasting time and money, and earn easy money by unfair means, then people well versed in large-scale theft and black marketing, who are looking after schools, education and other departments, cannot kick the habit of spitting and accumulating dirt, all of them being addicted to intoxicants. Department looking after the protection of forests neglects its duty, and wanton killings have led to the extinction of almost all the birds and animals. It is a clear example of wrongful governance. Children of rich families are indifferent. The image of politics imprinted in the character of youths. Rich people do not know the woes of poor people, having tasted the confronts as youths, and while slipping into revere of being the masters, they do not bother what others all around are doing. Not caring for the reasonability of what they want, they traverse alone through the forbidden path of the society. They who had never experienced the hurdle of humiliation and sufferings while growing up without any restrictions, forcing their way through, their desire to become leaders has made them purchase the representatives of the people elected after careful scrutiny. Selected by the people after scrutinizing from feet to head, wrongfully pampering them has made them do as they pleases while governing the land. Strangers are stalking for the opportune moment to wrest away power. They have been tightening the reins of the land slowly day by day. With full knowledge, the people are slowly made to depend on them. Since food supply is under the complete control of strangers, the governance of the land is reduced to swallowing of self-respect to fill the stomach. On the surface of Mother Earth, composed mainly of water, men cannot survive without water like fish. It is odd for a small group of men to become thirsty on the vast expanse of water. Like it, a country is parched because of the want of ladies who would consolidate, conserve and preserve the resources. If the veins and arteries of human body are not healthy, then eating food will not improve the health, nor will it improve the intellect and vigor. Likewise, if water is not harvested during the rainy season and all the sewerage and drains are blocked, then drought and flood will occur very frequently, causing fruits and grains, plants and flowers to wither and rot, resulting in perennial suffering of the land because of drought and famine. One and all are frail, sickly and dull. Like the male bird bringing materials for building a nest and the female lending a helping hand before laying eggs. Men should make the preparations and women should govern the land. It is natural for the family of a widower to be full of shortages and needs because of a shallow knowledge and seeing only the immediate requirements. People come out to protest when there are loopholes in governing the land. The land is useless like dust if the 108 diseases inflicting the society cannot be cured with 108 potent herbal medicines. Because of the lack of encouragement of the simple duties of shamans and priestesses, while struggling to stay alive in the battle of survival, they wish to use their traditional learning and knowledge as a secret tool, and they keep it a secret that can be accessed by them only. Because of not sharing the knowledge to ward off diseases and keeping it a secret, and since the laws inflicted by evil knowledge cannot be restricted to them alone, all the people living together in the land have to suffer the loss. Being born a human that cannot survive alone, but in a society, the place where I, a human, want to live is among mankind, not in forests among wild animals. Cannot live in the snow-capped mountain ranges of the Himalayas, nor is it possible to live in the sea in the company of fishes. Think only about the food and dress to my liking. Wish to look at only the things that give me satisfaction. Like to listen only to the sounds that give me pleasure. Want to smell only the odors that give me delight. Do not want anyone to obstruct and disturb my likings. Only when the desires are fulfilled, man is ready to die and close the eyes. Everything that gives satisfaction to the body will not be taken along when the soul leaves the body. Like I do others also want to enjoy the worldly desires. They ought to get to the extent they are working for it. All the things that are said to belong to me and my native land. If it were really my own production, then strangers should be stopped from doing as they please with it. Since I was not born with the things I claim to be my own, the real owner in this world is undefined. The ever-changing condition, place and time of all the living beings on the surface of the earth, according to the valor of the individual and his labor, the Lord has allowed mankind to buy what they want to eat and wear as they please. Birds perch on every tree and feed in every water body freely. Likewise, the enmity between one person and another because of border dispute. Segregation of my motherland from other country. Only when man has lost the greed for land, countries would start loving one another. All would be able to reap together real happiness, devoid of killings. Hey mouth, you are the origin real happiness. You are there to speak searching for happiness in this world, opening to start from one's share and coming to duties of individuals. He has taken encroaching on the shares of you and me. No imprint of tussle, stealing, conspiracy will be there. On the hillside, farmers hidden from eyes make the sound of T, arne echo in the air. What a lovely sound is the oars of a ferryman making chorok, chorok, breaking the tranquility across the water surface. To enliven the living beings, water in the hilly stream is flowing thorong, thorong towards the river. Erudite persons are preparing to pay taxes so that the land prospers and its granaries are full. The surplus harvests of the season, after retaining only the due share for enjoying the facilities of the land, when offered to the ruler, the master and servant lovingly open their mouths. to exchange sweet words of sharing. The ineffaceable voice of the organizer of the affairs of the world evokes an enchanting feeling to the listeners. How can there be envy and enmity for willing to stay separately? One helping in what another cannot do, enjoying together the fruits of the capability of one to work and the satisfaction the other gets over it. When one person treats another with humility, they share the work equally and stop indulging in false vanity beyond their capabilities, traveling together in life's journey full of happiness and sorrow. The satisfaction one gets when the physical labor is not wasted in vain. How can bad thoughts culminating into disrespect ever come up? The ultimate result of the ever-changing trend of time is the birth as man. I, a man, grow from a child to an old man. During the short lifespan in the surroundings, drastic changes have taken place, unfathomable changes. Marshes and swamps which we had drained to fish during our childhood. Today, factories and buildings, artificial structures of development stand there. How could it not be possible that man lived in caves in prehistoric times? Many generations before the present one, when human beings were nomadic, before they learned agriculture to stock food, when the articles needed for survival were not there, personal knowledge being one's only support, hands were more important than the mouth. Hands were the cause of man's death. For the death of someone, responsibility was fixed on no one. While alive also, without being aware, he gave up his life to show the path for the benefit of mankind. I, a seedling of the past generation, without caring for the comforts of life, am not able to use my head to create something that is not there already. Have not directly faced the troubles to create something that is not there already. When I am offered the comforts beyond my capacity, the persons who have not experienced the hardships do not count the comforts. They want the comforts but do not want to show gratefulness. Those courageous ones who have brought light to the darkness of the world, while I was busy in filling my stomach and taking siesta, the dutiful ones have performed their duties to complete before getting tired, without caring for those past their prime, forgetful of eating and sleeping. A crank, everyone will go mad if they take after him. They are the ones who have sacrificed everything their own but expelled as degenerates. But it is them who have given the opportunity and made possible persons belonging to such different and distant groups live together as brothers. It is like making flowers get nourishment from the same soil and bloom together. In this wide world, like the different flowers of the same garden, the evil persons mad for power have tried to misuse. The courage of those persons far-sighted like the sun. A country trying to devastate another country, men trying to kill men by poisoning, when frighteningly dangerous weapons start shaking the earth. Cries in distress of the living dead persons echo on the earth, where violence is the result of chasing after peace. Every terrible and major scandal originated from a small insignificant greed. The benefit of the keeping the mind under control a bit and remaining content is like cutting the dangers and sufferings at the very roots before it starts happening. Unwanted plants germinated from the minute seeds in droppings dropped by birds taking rest, perched on the high beams of tall brick buildings, start growing very big and mature unnoticed, and damage the buildings while people cared less in the course of time. A tiny spark accidentally landing on dry leaves can cause untold damage to the wealth of forests. within a few hours by starting a wildfire. The importance of small and tiny ones should be counted. On seeing the exploitation of weaker sections on earth, a stabbing pain is felt in the heart. It gives rise to the incurable desire of taking revenge. The unarmed common people who are against war, refugees of war running away from their devastated homes, suffer in the hands of the enemy's soldiers. Captured women and children are tortured, raped and treated as slaves. The unwanted incidents happening in isolated and hidden corners. The frightened countries should come to their senses and start searching for their fellow countrymen to find out how they are surviving, if they are allowed to resettle by providing adequate security to life and property. Then the ferocious thought of taking revenge by one man on another and the undesirable character of one man hating another, all can be saved in time at the right places. In this world, man is identified by the way he eats and drinks. Items of food and way of eating is related to the character of men. Those who think deeply, look carefully and behave properly are because of their honest means of earning. Though fully aware, once born, one is sure to die, human beings are still afraid. Some cannot wait for the natural death, for the fruits of their labor have not come out as they had expected. The extremely cruel people who can even kill people have become like it because the fire of discontentment has engulfed their hearts. However, one wishes to make the character of a man good. He cannot. The knowledge that one gets from the surroundings is gained as a free gift. The character of a man formed during childhood will remain unchanged throughout his life. Bad habits that cannot be kicked easily, even though fully aware of its negative aspects. Men carry on their habits willingly, not willing to kick one's own bad habits, though fully aware of it. Men insist others to change their bad habits. This has led others to lose their mental balance. Among the man-made objects or those already existing in nature, man is one of the wonders on earth. There is no being as bizarre as man on earth. Even if the shapes of legs, hands and heads are alike, the conditions of living of individual man differ unbelievably from one man to another. Some is so deeply buried in depths, in doing something that does not give any benefit to him or others. Someone else's wealth is enough to feed and sustain even a country. But there are people who barely get to eat 2 square meals a day. Even their dress is limited to a single piece of cloth, just enough to cover their bodies. Their strengths are also identical. They take part in the journey of light and darkness together. What a wonderful internal image of man. The human body created by the Almighty is a temple, the Almighty looking after the characters of men. According to the characters of individuals, no restriction is kept for men to become God or animal. If confidence is not lost, nothing is impossible for a human. The object seen, the sound heard, and the smell sniffed, those who are suspicious always perceive wrongly, losing the way because of wrongful thinking and perception. Is the result of saying no one to lead, either a god or a human. Every step confuses the mind further and further, leading to murkier and murkier thoughts. In the 2 faces of a lonely man, unsightly, ugly things can be seen, enriched by hatred, anger, and a will for destruction. Believing in the might of the Almighty controls the mind and gives satisfaction on seeing people happy, feels happy when people are made to feel satisfied. Every endeavor is met with success. Life's burden is carried without any hardship. Like the birds, each and every gate of the world is his home. Not even a single share of the artificial world is missed. He is the culmination of all happiness, can think properly and see clearly. The best of all is the honest and diligent one. Like the brightness of the lamp is reduced with exhaustion of fuel, in the country that was rich and flourishing, dignitaries in charge of the to and fro journey in palanquins, because of the greed to get more share and comforts, send out special produce of the country and secretly carry out trade for personal benefit with the neighboring countries ruled by the king's relatives. However hard the king tries to make good the shortages by taxing the hard-working poorer sections, giving them hard punishments for not paying up the taxes, but on one side everything goes down the drain, knowing fully well this situation deteriorates day by day. The unwarranted events that are dangerous to the king have been started by those very close to the kind guarding the palace gate. Jealousy and grudge for higher positions have made them wait the opportune moment to strike. The poor peasants never aim beyond their capacity. The seller should be honest to make the market flourish. If there is continuous diversion of small quantities by deceiving the owner, it will become a losing concern fast. However large amounts in thousands, lakhs are pumped in all the activities for the welfare of the land, a pure heart and sense of ownership are a must. In this world of business, though established for man, in the economics of keeping aside 10 and earning 5, since the soil differ from place to place, the fertility of one place is not the same as that of another. The wealth of men and ores produced from mines vary. Men, in trying to find a place, display the wares in markets, gold and silver, iron implements and weapons, steel, etc. Men could not buy anything they wanted from the market, but exchanged the items according to their requirements. It was the way of life of our forefathers in the past. Currency has replaced the system, for it cannot rot like the perishable goods when stored for a long time. Proper valuation according to the goods produced by the countries has benefited the countries in sharing, buying and selling. Currency has become the life of human beings. Misusing excessive amount of money spoils man. If a man starts thinking of money only, then he sees nothing except money. He starts considering persons close to him, even his parents, as enemies. For the sake of money, love is easily killed. Money has got divine powers. Money should not be neglected. For the sake of living, one man depends on another. One has to buy goods from others to meet his requirements. But if he does not produce equivalent amount of goods, then like a caterpillar eating lotus leaves to make the plant produce less number of flowers and reduce the growth of its rhizomes. Likewise, the condition of the country will deteriorate day by day. Judiciary is next to God. While giving judgment, one should not deceive for the sake of power. A person of smaller rank should not aspire for positions undue to him. The country has thousands of eyes. Each of the eyes has got a different voice. To satisfy one and all, one has to make an extreme sacrifice. Only then he can rule the country.